Given that the price of silver rose by 20% during August, is it setting itself up for a crash in September? Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com. This is our monthly update on silver. It really was an incredible month, August, for the price of silver, rising to pretty much a 3-year high. We have seen the price cool off a bit since then. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what this could mean for the next few weeks on silver, take a look at the trades we did in August, and also place some trades to try and capitalize on further movement in the silver price during September. As usual, if you've got a different view, just leave us a message in the comments down below and we'll have the discussion about what the future could hold for silver. But first of all, let's take a quick catch up and see exactly what happened during August. Let's take a quick look then at what happened to silver during August. It was a big month, so we came into August with the price trading around about 16.25, and you can see the growth, the rise we saw for the price of silver in August, trading as high as about 1960 by the first few days of September. That's a 20% rise for the price of silver during the month. It's come off quite a bit over the last few days, maybe not surprisingly after such a rise. But I think it's an opportunity again, because we do have this clear trend. So we are going to place a couple of trades today. The trades we've got running already clearly have benefited from this. We did a couple of trades in silver beginning of August and the middle of August, and they're up over £600 so far. So it's contributed quite a lot to our open P&L. They've been the best performers. So I think there's a bit of adjustment to do to those open trades. I think I'm going to do a couple of trades for September for silver. But let me just talk about some of the big levels to watch a little bit more. We'll come back onto the chart and get those trades placed. So that was an incredible performance, and clearly it was helped along. We have the usual concerns about the trade war, about the impact that could have on the world economy. Will we see a slowdown in global economic growth? That's one of the things helping lift silver. On top of that, we had a lot of talk about these inverted bond yields and how it's predicted all US recessions since 1955. So again, that was adding to worries that investors had about where the economy was going to go. Plus, of course, there was just plenty of momentum behind the price. We see this in all sorts of markets. When a price gathers steam, we can see buying fuels more buying. And I think there was definitely an element of that going on with silver. But it's also too easy to get carried away. I think if we have a runaway market like this, it's too easy to think that's the new norm. So let's just take a step and focus on the really big levels to watch during September. So for my money, that trend is still up. So at the moment, any weakness in the silver price, any major weakness still looks like a buying opportunity. But what are the levels we should be watching? Well, first of all, I think the obvious immediate level to watch is that high that we saw beginning of September. So that's at $19.65. I think if we get a breakthrough there, we could see more strength again, the classic breakout trade. But just above that, I think $20 could end up being something of a psychological barrier, at least in the short term for silver. And then I've gone back to a really long-term level, picking up on the July 2016 highs above $21. I think where it gets more interesting is on the downside. At the time of recording, we are seeing quite a sharp turnaround in the silver price. So let's look at the levels that need to hold on the downside to keep this trend intact. I think the first one to watch, it's not a million miles away, is $18, something of a psychological level, but also support in late August. After that, a bigger level comes in, and at $17.50, that's the 26th of August low, and then a dollar below that, $16.50, the mid-August low. So these are levels that held on the way up, and if the trend is going to stay, we'd expect the buyers to step back in on the way down. Right, let's try and take advantage of these levels I've highlighted. Let's jump back on the chart and set up. We're actually going to do 2 trades for the rest of September. So let's take a look at the silver price in a bit more detail. So here's our bigger picture view for silver. We're going to look at this in a bit more detail and place our trades. So going back to July 2016, this was the reason that I was buying in August. We had this downtrend in place. We saw the market early February this year try to break out of the downtrend. It didn't really have a sustained break, sold off, but we had another go again back in June. And of course, since then, we've seen the price soar. So we've seen silver push out early in September to its best levels in almost 3 years. It was late September 2016 when the price of silver was this high. Not surprisingly, it's cooled off a bit over the last couple of days. We've seen a sharp turnaround. We're looking at daily candlesticks here. You can see the size of the turn. So what I want to pick up on is, where do we look to get in? So I think that trend is still up, clearly. It's got a bit ahead of itself. So where are good levels to buy? How can we set this up? Let's have a look at the last few months in a bit more detail. So I flipped this over to a 4-hour chart now, and you can see we've got trading with charts enabled. There's my 2 silver positions. That's where I got in. So they're still running. But I thought I'd pick up on this trend since, the middle of July. So the market, we've had this really good trend. We've got a few touches on this trend line. The trend line's currently coming in around about $17.70. So I still want to be a buyer. So I think there are a few ways of doing this. I think ideally, because the market is still weak, perhaps the better way is to wait for strength to come in and then look to get the trade on. But we only do this video on silver once a month. We don't really have patience, so we're just going to need to get the trade on. So first of all, I just need to decide where my stop loss is going to go. So for me, the closest I would want my stop loss at the moment, the price currently is trading at 18.36. I would want my stop loss the closest below these late August lows, ahead of $18 an ounce. But actually, I'm going to set it a bit further away. I'm going to set it back below these lows from the 26th of August. There were also the highs in middle of August, but about 1750. So I think 1750 could end up being something of a big level for silver. We are approaching oversold on the RSI. You can see it down here. You know, again, with the turnaround we've seen in silver in recent days, not surprising the RSI has gone oversold. So I'm getting ready for it to snap back. So the first thing I want to do, I want to place a trade with a stop loss the other side of 1750. But what I'm also going to do is place a trade if we get a breakout on silver. So we'll come back to that in a second. But first of all, let's get this trade on. So we're going to go top right, click on buy. So the first thing I want to do is place my stop loss. So I'm going to go close at a loss. And I said the other side of 1750. Let's say 1735 is where our stop's going to go. So if I put my stop loss at 1735, you can see my risk here is about £195. But with this account, since we've been trading this account since the end of July, I've been practicing sensible risk management, keeping my risk to about 2% of the account size. The account started off with £10,000. So we'll stick with that. So about £200 risk, which is pretty much where we are now. That's it. The trade is ready to go. So I'm going to place this trade. I'm going to click on buy. You can see the margin requirement up here, £357 is what I'm going to tie up on this trade, buying 240 ounces with a stop at 1735. Click on buy. That's it. The trade is done. Bottom left is the usual confirmation. So if I want to track this, I can see on the chart, you can see this has now been added to my trading from charts. You can see that the latest position I've added, you know, obviously that's slightly behind because the market is falling and also because of the spread. But to look at things in a bit more detail, I can go into portfolio in here. And there we go. There's a few trades running on this account from other videos, but there's my latest silver trade just down here, buying 240 at 1835.2. I think it would be a good idea while we're on this page just to bump our stop losses up on our existing positions. I'm not going to do anything too complicated here. I think I'm just going to bump them up to pretty much break even on both of these trades. So the trade we did 13th of August, we bought at 1665. Let's move that stop to 1670. So we're pretty much at break even. And this one here, 2nd of August, we bought at 1614.9. We'll move that stop as well to break even. So I'll just click in here and change these. So update that position, that stop's moved, and then this one will move to 1620. So both of those positions have now been modified. We've got the new position in there. I don't want to move the stops too close because I think that trend is still going up. I still want to give the market some room. So let's set up an order now to try and take advantage of any strength. So what I want to do is set up an order to take advantage of a breakout. The recent high for silver, and that near 3-year high was at 1964. Let's say I want to buy in if we see a break through that level. So let's say we're going to set our order to jump on if the market breaks through 1964 and gets to 1985. Let's set that order up. So I want to buy when price is. So I'm saying 1985. So this is going to sit above those highs. When it comes to a stop loss, I'll set the stop loss a couple of dollars away. So we'll say $17.85 for the stop loss. So with the level I'm trading here, 240, I've got a wider stop loss. My risk is more. You can see my risk of loss here is nearly £390. I'm going to bump my size down, so I'm only risking £200. Let's do that again. So I've pushed my size down to 125, and you can see now my risk is down to a more acceptable £202 in this example. That's it, I'm ready to place this order. So you can see it highlighted on the chart. There's my order going in at 1985. The market needs to get to here for this order to be filled. Let's click place stop order. And there's our confirmation, buy 125 of silver at 1985 if it gets to 1985. If I go to my portfolio again on the left hand side and go to orders, there's a few other orders in there from other videos, but there's my order on silver, buying 125 if the market gets to 1985. That's it. It's been a really interesting couple of months for silver. Let's see what September's like. So August was something of a rocket ride for silver traders. Maybe we'll see a bit more calm coming back in September, but for me, that trend is still up. We'll wrap things up there, but as usual, to never miss out on the content we produce on a whole range of different markets, make sure you're subscribed, and if you click the alarm bell thing down there, you get a notification off YouTube every time we upload new content. But for this latest update on silver, we'll leave it there. So from me, David Jones and Capital.com, good luck with your trading.